Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well. So this assignment is we're going to explore some more about ocean trenches and about mid-ocean ridges also. So which we learned a little bit about in the Mariana Trench documentary that we watched earlier this week. So this assignment is going to be very similar to the map assignment that was assigned last week. So last Tuesday. Okay. This one, though, we're going to be looking at a different map. It's the same type of map. It's just a different version. And this video is going to be another one. It's like do as I do kind of video. So if you follow along with this video and, pause along the way to do certain things, you'll be pretty much done with this assignment by the end of the video. So we're hoping to keep it short and sweet. And I'm going to go through for the things for you to look through and explain how they work. So make sure that you're paying attention and that you're listening to how things work. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do in your assignment is you're going to create a Google drawing just like last time, because Google drawing is a little bit more flexible than having to paste pictures and do text in Google Docs. So that's the reason why we create a Google drawing. Okay, so you should have your Google drawing created. You can pause if you need to, but when you're ready, here we go. So I'm going to share my screen, and this is the map that you're going to have. It's an ocean features map. So it's the same kind of map, but it's the same but different. So we're going to go over here to content, and we're going to do some stuff over here. We're going to leave ocean bottom profiles, which are these green lines. Those are going to be important later. We're going to get rid of ocean features because there's just a little too much. We need volcanoes, global. Okay, so we have all of our volcanoes that come up. We need plate boundaries, so the different types of boundaries. When you click on this too, this will bring up the different types of boundaries, and we need this. This one's important. This is important. And then plate motions, so how much those tectonic plates are moving. Okay, so the first thing I want you to find is you're going to find 2 to 3 trenches. Okay. So we're going to do the first one together. So you can do this one as one of your 2 to 3. Okay. So we're going to look at the Mariana Trench because we looked at it in the video. The Mariana Trench is over here by Asia. So, and if you look any of these ocean features are labeled. So it'll be easy. It'll help you find the trenches. So here's our Mariana Trench. If you remember from the video, so we can see that this trench is a convergent boundary, right? We can tell because it tells us in our key over here. But remember, with a convergent boundary, tectonic plates are coming toward each other. They're coming in contact with one another. But with trenches, the reason a trench is formed is because this big oceanic plate, this big plate over here in the Pacific is sliding underneath it, right? And this section, kind of where they meet, I wish you can see it with my hands, this dip right here, that's actually where the trench is, okay? And so that's called subduction, when one plate goes underneath another, okay? And the oceanic plates are a lot heavier and a lot more dense, so they're the ones that are going to go underneath, okay? And when that happens, when the plate goes underneath the other one, it results in a trench, but it also results in a lot of these volcanoes and these volcanic islands being formed. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a screenshot of our trench. Okay, we want to try and get the volcanoes in there. We want to try and get that in there. So then I'm going to go over to my drawing. Okay, if you remember how to do this from last time, great. If not, I'll show you again. We're going to do insert image, upload from our computer, and I'm going to find my screenshot. I'm not sure why it looks like this. So finding your picture, this is my picture from now. Okay, and there it is. So what you guys need to do is you need to find at least 1 or 2 more trenches. So remember, things to look for your trench, right? It's a convergent boundary. It's a convergent boundary, okay? So, and a lot of times these are on the edges of oceans or on the edges, between oceans and continents, okay? So thinking, and again, if we go back in here, we can see that the Mariana Trench is labeled. Okay, there are several around. There are a lot, like if you zoom out, okay, you're really looking for those convergent boundaries that have a lot of volcanoes and are on the borders of ocean and land. Okay, so go find one or two more and take screenshots and put them in your Google drawing, just like we did. When you have found those, I want you to go back to your drawing, and you're going to do some observations. Just, let's see, we're going to do a text box. I'm going to put mine right here. And again, you can organize it however you want, but really thinking about, like, what do you observe? Right? These should be incomplete sentences. What do you observe? What type of boundary creates a trench? Right? And then, like, what's the relationship between trenches and volcanoes? What do you notice? Okay, so these are the questions that you need to answer when you post your pictures. Okay, if you need to do more than one drawing, because I'm going to have you find a couple more things. If you need to do more than one drawing, please do so. Okay, that's totally cool. Okay, now, so you can have one for trenches, because now what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to look for something else. We're going to look for what's called a mid-ocean ridge. Okay, mid-ocean ridges. So I'm going to do the mid-Atlantic ridge because I really like, actually I'm going to do I'm going to do the mid-Atlantic ridge just for right now. So if we look, I'm going to zoom back out. The mid-Atlantic ridge is a divergent boundary, right? So in a divergent boundary, thinking back to like the Oreos, the plates separate. They're pulling apart from one another. Okay. And when that happens, it allows like mantle and lava to come up through and kind of like fill in the gap, which creates new like ocean floor. So that's what is happening here. And we see them a lot of times in the ocean. So what I want you to do is find one other Atlantic ridge or mid-ocean ridge. I'll take a screenshot of this. Okay. Oh, I'm not sure why that's not working. Right? Here's the my mid-Atlantic ridge. I'm going to put my picture in, upload. There it is. There's my mid-Atlantic ridge, right? So for your text, it's kind of the same thing. It's just what is happening with the tectonic plates. Whoa. Okay, that's not how you spell tectonic. Tectonic, there we go. Think about like what type of boundary is it? Okay, and what does it create? And I will post this example up on the assignment also, so you will have it. When we have ocean ridges, a lot of times what it creates is it creates like an underwater mountain range. So if we looked at this part on the map, if we looked here, we would actually see like mountains underneath the ocean, right? So these look like ocean, like mountains underwater. There's one other thing for you to look for. And this one is going to be a little bit more interesting. So if we think back to the Mariana Trench video, okay? If we think back to the Mariana Trench, a lot of times trenches are opposite of ocean ridges. So here's another ocean ridge, okay? So what's happening over here is the plate is separating, but then, so over here, the plate is moving this way, okay? And then over here, the plate is going underneath, okay? So this plate, it's kind of like shifting, it's being created over here, but then it's going underneath another plate over here. So it's kind of like the plate is going from here, it's traveling, and then it's going underneath. So it's kind of like, it's just kind of continually being recycled. So like we can see that here, right? Here's this divergent boundary, the place where tectonic plates are separating. And they are moving this way. And it's therefore this plate over here is going underneath these plates over here. And we can tell that because of all of these volcanoes and all of these trenches. Like here's another trench. Here's another trench. Okay, so there's lots of trenches all over the place. But you should be able to see that opposite or on like kind of in the other direction is a divergent boundary. So here's what I want you to find. This one's going to be really challenging, but I think you guys can do it. These green lines are really important. Okay, I'm gonna do two for you. I'm gonna do two different ones. If we click on this one, and I want you to click on this one on your computer also, but if you click on it, okay, it comes up with this picture, okay? And what it does, if we click it, we can see kind of like what the ocean floor looks like. Isn't that really cool? So if this is, this is over here by, this spot is over here. This is over here. The trench is going to be somewhere, because we can tell this is where our trench is. Can kind of tell, is over here. See this big dip right here? This is actually a trench right here. This is the trench. Isn't that neat? You can tell because it's got this like big dip in it. So if we close it out, now if we go, I'm going to go back over here to the mid-ocean ridge, the mid-Atlantic ridge. If I click on this, here are those mountain ranges I was telling you about, right? Right in the middle, it's like we have these peaks. We have these mountains right in the middle of the ocean. So what I want you to do is I want you to see if you can find one of these green lines that goes through a trench and a divergent boundary, or that goes through a trench and a ridge. Okay, so I'll give you kind of a hint. You want to be kind of in this area. Like, don't worry so much about like in here, but there's a lot going on between South America and Australia, and then Africa and Asia. So there's kind of a lot going on in here. But you should be able to click on a couple things. So like here's another one of these mountain ranges. Okay, this one's a little bit harder to see. These ones aren't very big. But when you click on it, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do a separate one. I want you to take a screen, when you find it, I want you to take a screenshot. I want you to take a screenshot. We're gonna put it in. No, not new. What am I doing? Right? We're gonna put it in. And again, you can do more than one drawing if you need to. Okay? Actually, I'll put this back up here. That's the good thing too about Google Drawings is you can change it up a bit. There we go. I want you to label like where the trench is, and I want you to label where the mid-ocean ridge is. Okay, so you can do that on here. So like I told you earlier, this is our trench, right? And you can use, excuse me, you can use symbols, right? Like you can draw an arrow right there. There's our trench, right? So I want you to try to find one of these lines that goes through a trench and a mid-ocean ridge. So remember, the trench has this weird little dip in it, right? Because the trench is basically like a giant hole or ditch in the ground. And then your ocean ridge, whoa, Saken. Let's try that again. And then your ocean ridge has these mountain peaks in the middle. So you should be able to see something with mountain peaks in the middle and with one of those little dips near the coast. Okay. and then just and then explain it, right? How, like if we go in here, it's kind of like, think about how are ocean trenches and mid-ocean ridges connected? And then what is so think about like, and then think about what is subduction and how does it work? Remember, subduction is when when those plates slide underneath each other. So I want you to try and explain that in a little more depth. Okay. I will be available. So tomorrow, so Friday. Okay. I will be available at 11:15. I will have office hour. I will have a meeting open at 11:15 to work on this. So if you need some help, I can help you with that. Okay. I'll make sure to include that in the assignment. So do the best you can. If you have questions, email me. This one's a little, this is kind of going back to the Mariana Trench. It's still all connected to tectonic plates and how these plates work and change what the earth looks like. Okay. Email me with questions. I'll set up a Zoom meeting for tomorrow, for Friday. I can even do some stuff after school tomorrow. And we can set up some time to work. Okay. Have a good day. Email me with questions and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.